Hey y'all, thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk about weekly student self-assessments. Do you feel overwhelmed with all the paperwork that you have to complete each week? Do you need a classroom management overhaul? I was there, I did, and this is how I fixed it. When I first started teaching, I spent Thursday nights filling out behavior charts, doing a clip to send home on Friday folders. I would curl up on the couch with a quick dinner, maybe take a break to watch Friends, and that was my Thursday nights. Then I would send the papers home on Friday, and on the weekend I would get emails and parent phone calls asking me, why did my child do this? Why did my child do that? Why did you say that they didn't turn in this assignment? And that's how I spent a lot of my Saturday mornings and Sunday nights. It exhausts me just thinking about that. It was a lot of work, and even more work when I had to get back on Monday mornings and have parent notes as well. I felt swamped and stressed, and I was losing my personal time and my teaching time because I was having to deal with a lot of these back and forth communications with parents. What I was doing clearly wasn't working, and it wasn't a good use of my time. Around this time, I started doing my national boards, and I had time where I was forced to actually sit and reflect on what I was doing. And I was sitting looking at my students one afternoon and thought, this needs to be them. They're the middleman in me communicating what goes on each week. So I decided I was going to hold them accountable for their behavior, and I went home and I revamped and I came up with this weekly self-assessment. With my weekly self-assessment, what I did is I took it and I put it on a level of 1 to 5. So the students will tell about following directions. Do they have a positive attitude? Did they bring in all their materials? Were they controlling their off-task talking? So what happened over the weekend and that stuff? Were they turning in homework? Were they being respectful to myself and to others? Were they cooperating with others? Were they giving their best effort and when they were turning in their assignments on time? I also put in here, I have blank papers in this folder this week. So when I sent it home, we would count it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that way the parents knew exactly how many papers I sent home. So there might be something missing or there wasn't something there, then that would be a good question for them to have for me. The first few weeks I did this, I walked through the class through each step. And I would give out the form and say, okay, today let's think about your week on following directions. If I never had to say anything to you, if no other teacher in the school had to say anything to you to correct you on your behavior, give yourself a 5. If maybe one person had to say something to you throughout the week, give yourself a 4. If a couple people had to redirect you, a 3. And then keep going so on. If every single day someone was having to redirect you and get you to follow directions correctly, give yourself a 1. I went through the whole thing. Then I would staple the papers to this, send it home. The first few weeks that I changed this, my parents weren't really clear what was going on, and I did have a couple of phone calls. And when I got the phone call, I would say, well, I didn't fill out that form this week. Your child did. So have him explain to you why he got a 2 in following directions. And then immediately I would hear the parents say, hold on, and they would ask the question, and then they would say, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Have a great night. Totally understand. That happened maybe once or twice during the first couple of weeks, and then it happened again. I didn't have the notes on Mondays. I didn't have the emails and the phone calls over my weekend, and it allowed the parents and the student to have a conversation together, and it wasn't just what I said that they did. Now, you're also going to have your kids who you're thinking, I have kids that aren't going to be honest. Well, guess what? You're going to look at this before it goes home. So if I have a kid that I know that I talked to, my behavior chart says that they were okay this week, but they weren't a 5. Then I would go to them and say, hey, look at this chart right here. It says that I had to correct you to go back to your seat, and when you were in music, the music teacher said that you had a few issues with following directions there. So is a 5 really what you should give yourself? And they would always say, oh no, I probably should have given myself a 3. And then you just go back in there and put that in there. And they corrected it. So when they go home, they're going to give the honest answer, because I've had that conversation and now their parent knows that why they gave themselves a 3, and they're going to tell them. They're typically honest. The other issue you might have is you're going to have those kids who think they have to be perfect. So you're going to have your perfect kid that you never have to say anything to give themselves all 3. That's another kid that you might have to speak to before the papers go home and say, oh, I think you were a little hard on yourself this week. As I went through this, probably the first 3 to 4 weeks, depending on your age grade, because I do also have one. This is my one that I use in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, but I also have one that I have revamped for kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd, that they can do the smiley face. The first couple of weeks, I would just kind of go through it and gradually give them more and more freedom. And as the year went on, I would just pass them out. The kids would fill them out as morning work or right before they left on Thursday. On Thursday nights, I would just go through, pull out papers, staple them together, write any comments that I wanted to. On the back, I also have some things to add. So things I did really well this week. A lot of times you're going to have quiet kids who aren't going to talk to you or talk to a group very often. And this is their chance to say, this is what I was really proud of. Maybe you have a kid who's a talker and they're really proud of the fact that they didn't get any in trouble for talking that week. Things that I need to study or work harder on. Maybe they need to work on their spelling words. Maybe they have a question in a math class that they didn't ask, but they might ask it on here. And then anything else you want to share. Your quieter kids, this is where you're going to find out about their karate. This is where you're going to find out about the things they enjoy during the week, because they're not the ones that are just going to come up and talk as much. I have a spot here for teacher comments and then a spot for parent comments. And I encourage my parents to, yes, maybe they need to write a note to me, but more importantly, I wanted them to write the comment to their kid. So give them, hey, I'm so proud of you. I would have them bring this whole stuff, all this back, this with the papers, and then I would take it and file it. And at the end of each quarter, we would take some time to go through and reread these. The kids love reading their parents' comments, but they also love seeing what they had already improved in. When they came back to things that they needed to study and work harder, a lot of them would say, oh my gosh, I totally get subtraction now. I've got it. So this is an excellent way to take out the middleman, put the kids in charge, take some pressure off of you, and it be something that's more authentic. If this is something that you would like to have, I have a freebie where you can just download this and get it for yourself to use in your classroom. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the blog. You can also contact me through email. If you want more information or more time-saving forms, my friend Erin Sherbet and I went together and we pulled all of the best stuff that we've combined over our years of teaching and put it together in a teaching time savers that will go through a lot of different things that you can use for classroom management. There are links in the comment section below on how to access this weekly self-assessment. There's also links to my Pinterest page, my Facebook page, and my Instagram, and my blog where you can get even more information. There's another post called The Ultimate Guide to Starting the School Year where you can get free field trip forms, some information on communicating with parents, makeup work forms, and ideas on dismissal. So please check out the links below. I'd love to hear back from you. Thanks so much and have a great day.